Massive stones built with impossible precision stand silent across our world. This video uncovers the hidden structural codes locked inside ancient megalithic sites, revealing a sophisticated science that rewrites history. You will gain a new understanding of human ingenuity and the lost knowledge that shaped our planet. How did builders align these stones to the stars? And why do they share the same geometric language across continents? What does our modern world overlook about the wisdom of the ancients? These silent stone giants span the entire globe. A megalith is quite literally a large stone, a term borrowed from ancient Greek. But this simple definition barely scratches the surface of the profound mystery these sites represent. We are not looking at simple piles of rock. We are confronting monuments built with blocks that weigh as much as small mountains, moved across dozens of miles, and locked together with a precision that defies simple explanation. Think of the moai of Rapa Nui, their immense backs to the sea, or the haunting stone circles of Europe that capture the sun's first light on a specific day. How did prehistoric communities without the wheel or metal tools achieve such feats? The quarrying alone is a monumental task. Then comes the transportation, moving a 50-ton block over hills and rivers. Finally, the erection, placing these stones upright or positioning a massive capstone high atop others with breathtaking accuracy. The purpose of these places is another layer of the puzzle. Were they temples, calendars, burial sites, or something else entirely? The sheer effort involved tells us they were of supreme importance. They are not random constructions. They are a language written in stone, and we are only just beginning to learn how to read the grammar. Each site is a piece of a larger, global puzzle, hinting at a forgotten chapter in the story of human ingenuity. This silent language of stone is not written in letters or symbols we can easily read. It is a language of hidden structural codes, a set of underlying principles that governed every aspect of construction. These codes are the architectural DNA of these sites, a sophisticated blend of geometry, mathematics, and astronomy that modern science is only just beginning to decode. They are not obvious to the eye. You cannot simply look at a stone circle and see them. They reveal themselves through painstaking measurement, through the way sunlight pierces a specific corridor only on the summer solstice, or through the strange acoustic properties that make a whisper audible across a vast chamber. For example, the proportions of certain stones or chambers often encode mathematical constants like pi or the golden ratio, numbers that represent fundamental relationships found throughout nature. This suggests the builders possessed a deep, intuitive understanding of universal principles, a knowledge they literally set in stone. These hidden codes likely served multiple, interconnected purposes. They could have functioned as a precise calendar, tracking the seasons for planting and harvest. They might have been central to ceremonial practices, using sound and light to create profound experiences. Some researchers even propose a geodetic function, meaning these sites were placed in a specific global network, mapping the Earth itself. By learning to read these patterns, we are not just measuring stones. We are glimpsing into the minds of the builders, understanding how they saw their place in a vast, interconnected cosmos. Geometry provides the most fundamental key to unlocking this silent language. This geometric language is built on a foundation of stunning mathematical sophistication. The same circles, triangles, and spirals we see etched into the landscape are governed by precise numerical relationships, transforming abstract shapes into a concrete science of construction. At sites like the Great Pyramid of Giza, the ratio of its base perimeter to its original height is a close approximation of 2 times pi, a fundamental constant in mathematics. This is not a coincidence. It demonstrates that the builders were not just arranging stones, they were encoding universal mathematical truths into their architecture. This knowledge appears across the world. The megalithic temples on Malta, for instance, are designed using Pythagorean triangles, a geometric concept that would not be formally documented for thousands of years. How could cultures separated by vast oceans and millennia arrive at the same complex principles? This points to a shared, underlying system of knowledge, a lost science that understood the fabric of reality in numerical terms. One of the most pervasive mathematical concepts found is the golden ratio, a number approximately equal to 1.618. This ratio appears repeatedly in nature, from the spiral of a nautilus shell to the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower. Its presence in ancient structures, from the Parthenon in Greece to the dimensions of individual stones in Britain's stone circles, suggests the builders were consciously mirroring the patterns of the natural world. They were seeking harmony, creating spaces that resonated with the same proportional beauty found in a living organism. This mathematical coding goes even deeper with shapes like the vesica piscis, the almond-shaped space created by the overlap of two circles of the same size. This form is fundamental to sacred geometry and appears as the foundational layout for many stone circles. At Göbekli Tepe, one of the oldest known megalithic sites, researchers have identified complex fractal patterns where smaller geometric designs are nested within larger ones, creating a repeating, self-similar structure of immense complexity. Why go to such extraordinary lengths? This mathematical precision likely served multiple purposes. On a practical level, these precise ratios and shapes provided incredible structural stability, allowing monuments to withstand millennia of weather and seismic activity. On a ceremonial level, they may have been used to mark spaces as sacred, creating a tangible connection between the human, the earthly, and the cosmic realms. The stones themselves become more than rock. They are physical expressions of a number, a ratio, a perfect idea made permanent. This higher language of mathematics elevates the mystery from how they built these sites to why they built them with such specific, intelligent design. This mathematical precision carved in stone reaches its zenith in the arrangement of the Carnac stones in France. Here, thousands of menhirs stand in long, parallel rows stretching across the landscape like a vast, silent army. Their placement is not random. Researchers have found that the stones are positioned according to complex numerical sequences, patterns that may correspond to the 18.6-year cycle of the Moon or other long-term astronomical periods. It is a calendar written across the Earth itself, a testament to a civilization that watched the skies and recorded their rhythms with unwavering dedication. This same sophistication is locked within the Great Pyramid's King's Chamber. The chamber's dimensions are not arbitrary measurements. They encode the mathematical constant pi and the principles of the Pythagorean theorem, concepts that would not be formally defined by Greek mathematicians for another 2,000 years. How do we explain this? It suggests a deep, pre-existing knowledge of geometry, a system of understanding that was both practical and profound. The consistency across continents is perhaps the most compelling evidence for a shared, lost science. Experts like John Mitchell proposed the use of a standardized megalithic yard, a unit of measurement approximately 2.72 feet long, which appears to have been used from the stone circles of Britain to the monuments of ancient Egypt. This universal ruler allowed builders separated by vast distances to create structures with a consistent, harmonious scale. The coding extends even to the stones themselves. The volumes and weights of individual blocks often relate to planetary ratios or harmonic frequencies, as if the builders were tuning their constructions to the music of the cosmos. Consider Newgrange in Ireland, a massive passage tomb older than the pyramids. The entire structure is a masterpiece of geometric calculation. The famous entrance stone, with its intricate spiral carvings, is positioned with such exactitude that on the winter solstice, a narrow beam of sunlight pierces a roof box above the entrance and travels down the 60-foot passage to illuminate the inner chamber. This breathtaking event is not the result of guesswork. It is the product of precise angular calculations, a feat of engineering that required an advanced understanding of the sun's changing path across the sky throughout the year. These mathematical insights reveal minds capable of the highest forms of abstract thought and long-term planning, visionaries who could conceive a project that would not reach completion for generations. The cold, hard stone becomes a canvas for the warm, living light of human intellect. This intricate dance of numbers and stones opens a profound window into ancient minds, showing us a world where mathematics was not just a tool, but a language to converse with the universe itself. And when this numerical language is combined with the movements of the heavens, the true purpose of these sites begins to shine through with even greater clarity. This astronomical precision carved in stone reveals a civilization that did not just observe the sky, but truly listened to its rhythms. The heavens provided a constant, predictable clock, and ancient builders encoded its celestial mechanics into the very foundations of their world. The famous alignment of Stonehenge, where the sun rises directly over the heel stone on the summer solstice, is merely the most well-known example of a global phenomenon. Far to the south, at Machu Picchu in Peru, the Intihuatana stone, often called the hitching post of the sun, performs a similar function. At the exact moment of the equinox, this intricately carved granite pillar casts no shadow at all, a perfect and silent declaration of the sun's balance. It was a sophisticated solar calendar, marking the times for planting and harvest with unerring accuracy. This celestial coding is woven into the architecture of sites across the globe. On the Mediterranean island of Malta, the Mnajdra temple complex is oriented so that during the equinoxes, the first rays of the rising sun shine directly through its main doorway, illuminating a central corridor. In the Egyptian desert, the stone circle at Nabta Playa, one of the oldest known astronomical alignments in the world, marks not only the summer solstice but also the heliacal rising of the star Sirius, an event that signaled the coming of the annual Nile flood. Astronomer Gerald Hawkins' pioneering work demonstrated that the 56 Aubrey holes at Stonehenge could have been used as a primitive computer to predict lunar eclipses, revealing a grasp of complex cycles that span decades. This was not simple sun worship. It was a deep, scientific understanding of precession, the slow wobble of Earth's axis that gradually shifts our view of the stars over a cycle of 26,000 years. Why imprint these cosmic patterns so permanently onto the landscape? The alignment of human ritual with celestial events created a powerful bond between the community and the cosmos. It reinforced a belief in a harmonious universe where human activities, from agriculture to ceremony, were in sync with the great cycles of creation. The stones themselves became anchors, connecting the earthly realm with the celestial, turning abstract astronomical events into tangible experiences of light and shadow. The heavens were not a distant mystery, they were a living blueprint, and these sites were the earthly mirrors reflecting that grand design. This profound connection to the sky, however, may have been only one part of a greater energetic system, one that also drew power from deep within the planet itself. Beyond the silent alignment with the stars, another invisible force may have guided the placement of these monuments, a power rising not from the sky but from the very ground beneath our feet. Some researchers propose that megalithic sites were built atop powerful telluric energy lines, natural electrical currents that flow through the Earth's crust. The idea is that ancient builders intentionally selected these charged locations to amplify spiritual or healing practices. At sites like Avebury in England or the Rollright Stones, modern instruments have detected unusual electromagnetic fluctuations. Compass needles may waver unexpectedly, and electronic devices can behave erratically, suggesting the presence of a persistent, localized energy field. These geomagnetic anomalies are not necessarily magical. They could have straightforward physical causes, such as the unique mineral composition of the stones themselves, the movement of underground water flows, or even the specific geometry of the structures, which might act to concentrate natural terrestrial energies. Researchers like Paul Devereux suggest that ancient peoples highly attuned to their environment could sense these subtle energies through intuitive means like dowsing, selecting sites that felt particularly alive or vibrant. Consider the sprawling Carnac alignments in France, which run directly along major geological fault lines, zones where the Earth's crust is fractured and energy is more readily released. Or the Great Pyramid of Giza, where the chambers inside are known to exhibit unique resonant properties, as if the structure itself is tuned to a specific frequency. While mainstream science remains skeptical of claims that these energies could induce altered states of consciousness or accelerate plant growth, the sheer number of anecdotal reports from these locations is compelling. What if this energetic coding was a deliberate attempt to connect worshippers directly with the Earth's own life force, creating a bridge between human ceremony and planetary vitality? This understanding adds a profound layer of meaning to the placement of every stone. And just as these sites may harness the silent energy of the Earth, they also seem to be designed to manipulate something equally intangible, the power of sound. The stones themselves may have been designed to sing. Beyond geometry and energy, many ancient sites possess a remarkable acoustic dimension, a hidden architecture of sound that modern researchers are just beginning to measure and understand. Within the deep chambers of Newgrange, the corbelled stone roof does more than just keep out the rain. It creates a unique resonant space where certain chants or tones are amplified and sustained, wrapping participants in a blanket of sound that could profoundly shift their state of awareness. This was likely no accident. It suggests that sound itself was a sacred technology, a tool used in ceremonial practices to bridge the gap between the physical and the spiritual worlds. This principle reaches an even more sophisticated level deep within the hypogeum of Hal Saflieni on Malta, an entirely subterranean complex carved from solid rock. Here, a specific chamber, often called the Oracle Room, possesses an extraordinary property. A voice spoken in this room resonates and is projected throughout the entire labyrinthine structure, allowing a single individual to be heard by many. Even more intriguing, certain frequencies, particularly those in the range of 110 Hz, seem to resonate within the human brain in a way that can promote calm and focused attention, a state conducive to meditation or ritual. Researchers like Stephen J. Waller have explored how the very layout of stone circles can manipulate sound. His experiments reveal that the circular arrangement of massive stones can create complex auditory illusions, such as standing waves that make sounds seem to appear and disappear as one moves through the space. This could have been perceived as the voices of spirits or ancestors, making the stones feel truly alive. While not a megalithic site in the traditional sense, the ringing rocks of Pennsylvania in the United States offer a powerful analogy. This vast boulder field is composed of lithophonic stones that ring with a clear, metallic tone when struck with a hammer. They are a natural demonstration of how rock can be an instrument. When we apply this concept to build structures, it suggests the ancient architects understood the physics of sound on an intuitive, practical level. They were not just building with stone, they were tuning it. They shaped their monuments to harness the vibrational power of the human voice, of rhythm, of simple instruments, using sonic resonance as a direct pathway to the mind and spirit. This acoustic coding reveals a spiritual toolkit far more advanced than we once believed, where architecture, the human body, and consciousness were all considered part of one interconnected system. This sophisticated understanding of invisible forces did not develop in isolation, but appears to be a thread connecting the most enigmatic sites across the entire planet. This global language of stone is spoken on every continent, from the immense dolmens of Korea to the perfectly spherical stones of Costa Rica. The same architectural ideas appear in cultures separated by vast oceans. These are not isolated, random inventions. The recurrence of specific forms like the trilithon, a structure of two upright stones supporting a horizontal lintel, is too precise and too widespread to be mere coincidence. This pattern points toward a profound possibility, a prehistoric network of knowledge that spanned the globe long before our history books suggest such travel was possible. How do we explain the near-identical use of stone circles and aligned avenues in places as distant as Britain and West Africa? One compelling theory proposed by researchers like Graham Hancock suggests a lost civilization, a sophisticated seafaring culture that navigated the world's oceans at the end of the last ice age. This advanced society, the theory goes, disseminated the core principles of this megalithic science to emerging cultures everywhere before it vanished beneath rising sea levels. The evidence for this interconnectedness is not just in the shapes of the stones, but in their placement. Many of these sites are positioned along what are known as ley lines, hypothetical alignments that connect ancient landmarks across the landscape. The Great Circle connecting Stonehenge to Glastonbury Tor in England is one such example, suggesting a conscious, large-scale planning of sacred geography. This pattern of interconnection challenges the conventional timeline of human development at its very core. Consider the parallel development of pyramid structures. The stepped pyramids of Mesopotamia, the smooth-sided giants of Egypt, and the towering temples of Mesoamerica all share a striking resemblance and a common purpose, encoding precise astronomical data into their alignment and internal passages. Could cultures on opposite sides of the world have independently discovered not only the same architectural form, but also the same complex celestial mathematics? The global distribution of these sites implies something fundamental about humanity itself, a universal impulse to build monuments that reflect our understanding of the cosmos. This was not a fragmented, isolated process, but a collective human endeavor, a shared dream written in the most permanent material available. Understanding this worldwide web of stone naturally leads us to a more practical question, one of sheer physical effort. How do they actually move and place these colossal blocks? The sheer scale of these engineering puzzles defies belief. At the Lebanese site of Baalbek, the foundation platform holds the trilithon, 3 limestone blocks each weighing over 800 tons. These stones were moved from a quarry nearly a mile away and lifted over 20 feet to sit in a wall, their joints cut so perfectly that not even the thinnest blade can slip between them. How was such a feat possible with what we consider primitive tools? The conventional explanation involves an immense workforce using wooden sledges, lubricated with water or clay, and pulling on ropes across a track of log rollers. Levers and counterweights would then have been used to inch the stones into their final, precise positions. Yet, even with modern recreations, the logistics of coordinating such an operation with such breathtaking accuracy remain staggering. This has led to more speculative theories, ideas that the builders had mastered lost technologies, perhaps using sound or vibrational frequencies to somehow reduce the weight of the stone, making it easier to move. While mainstream archaeology remains skeptical, these ideas persist because the physical evidence is so challenging to fully explain. On Easter Island, the iconic moai statues were not simply dragged. Experimental archaeology has shown they could have been walked upright, rocked from side to side by teams pulling on ropes in a coordinated rhythm, a method that would have made the colossal figures appear to march across the landscape. At Stonehenge, the massive sarsen stones were shaped and smoothed using nothing more than stone mauls, a process of relentless, patient pounding. Each of these methods reveals a deep, practical understanding of physics. It was not merely about brute force, it was about applied intelligence, about knowing exactly how to manipulate leverage, friction, and center of gravity. This required more than muscle, it demanded sophisticated logistics, long-term planning, and a culture capable of extraordinary teamwork. The true monument was not just the stone, but the shared human effort and ingenuity that raised it. This physical mastery, however, was only one part of the story. The stones were not merely placed, they were encoded with a deeper, symbolic meaning. The stones themselves tell stories far beyond their physical form. They are a symbolic language where every circle, spiral, and alignment is a word in a vast cosmological narrative. The circle, seen so perfectly in stone rings across Britain, was likely more than a shape. It represented eternity, the endless cycle of the seasons, and the wholeness of the community. Carved spirals, like those that cover the entrance stone at Newgrange, may have charted the journey of the soul, a symbolic path of death and rebirth mirrored in the sun's own daily descent and return. This was not mere decoration. It was a profound expression of belief set in the most permanent material imaginable. The layouts of entire sites often embody what we now call sacred geometry. While we do not find the flower of life explicitly carved at Machu Picchu, the principles it represents are undeniably present. The Temple of the Sun there, with its uniquely trapezoidal doors and windows, does more than just withstand earthquakes. Its precise angles frame specific celestial events, turning the architecture itself into a calendar and a spiritual statement, a physical manifestation of the connection between the earthly and the divine. Mythologist Joseph Campbell described such places as Axis Mundi, the world axis or world tree, a sacred center that connects heaven, earth, and the underworld. A single standing stone, a pyramid, or a towering temple could all serve as this cosmic pivot point, a place where the veil between worlds was considered thin. The vast serpentine alignments of the Carnac stones in France might be seen as a colossal representation of a deity or an ancestral spirit, a stone river of symbolic power flowing across the landscape. These symbols acted as powerful mnemonic devices. For a culture without widespread written language, these carvings and alignments stored complex esoteric knowledge, preserving the core myths and rituals for initiates and reinforcing shared values for the entire community. They transformed the very landscape into a library of stone, where every path and pillar held a lesson, a prayer, or a piece of a creation story. By walking these sacred paths and witnessing the alignments of light, an individual did not just hear a story, they experienced it physically and spiritually. The cold rock was imbued with life and meaning, becoming a permanent participant in the culture's most important ceremonies. This deep, symbolic coding invites us to look closer, to move beyond measurement and see the poetry written into these ancient stones. Stonehenge stands as a perfect synthesis of all these hidden codes. Its iconic circle of sarsen stones, capped by lintels locked together with stone joints, is far more than a primitive monument. It functions as a sophisticated calendar, tracking the solar year with remarkable accuracy. The famous summer solstice sunrise, where the sun crests directly over the heel stone and casts its light into the heart of the circle, is the most dramatic example of this celestial timekeeping. But the alignments run even deeper. The four station stones form a rectangle whose long sides point to the most extreme rising and setting points of the moon during its major standstill, an 18.6-year cycle. This knowledge allowed those who understood the site's language to predict lunar eclipses, transforming the stones into a powerful astronomical instrument. Recent laser scanning of the stone surfaces has uncovered carvings that were invisible to the naked eye for centuries. Etched into the rock are dozens of depictions of bronze daggers and axes. These are not random graffiti. Some researchers suggest they might map out specific star constellations, while others see them as symbols of ritual power, a permanent record of the ceremonial implements used within this sacred space. Adding another layer to its purpose, the smaller blue stones, transported over 140 miles from the Preseli Hills in Wales, are central to the site's enduring mystery. Geological studies indicate these stones were long believed to possess unique healing properties, drawing people from across the land to what might have been a prehistoric center for well-being. The 56 Aubrey holes that circle the monument are another piece of this complex puzzle. This number, 56, is deeply significant. It is a multiple of the lunar cycle and could have been used as a counting system to track the years and predict celestial events with a simple marker moved from hole to hole each year. Archaeologist Mike Parker Pearson's work reinforces that Stonehenge was not an isolated structure. It was part of a vast ceremonial landscape, connected by avenues and processional ways to the massive settlement at Durrington Walls. This suggests a landscape divided between the realms of the living and the realms of those who had passed, with Stonehenge itself serving as the final resting place for the honored dead. Here, the astronomical, mathematical, and symbolic codes are not separate. They are threads woven into a single, magnificent tapestry. Each solstice alignment, each carved symbol, and each numbered hole works in concert, revealing a civilization that saw no division between science, spirituality, and the cycles of the natural world. The silent stones of Stonehenge continue to guard their secrets, but with each new discovery, we come closer to hearing their story. This grand fusion of knowledge finds a powerful parallel in another ancient wonder, the enigmatic pyramids of Giza. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as the ultimate expression of this ancient science, a machine carved from the desert that encodes the world itself in its dimensions. Its base perimeter, when compared to its original height, produces a ratio that equals 2 times pi. This is not an approximation. It is a deliberate mathematical statement, a permanent inscription of a fundamental constant into the very scale of the structure. The pyramid's relationship to our planet is even more breathtaking. The ratio of its height to the Earth's polar radius is 1 to 43,200. This number is not random. It is a key precessional figure, linking the pyramid's form to the slow, grand wobble of the Earth's axis. Every side of the pyramid is aligned to the cardinal directions with an accuracy of less than 1/20th of a degree, a feat of surveying that seems to defy the technology of its age. This is more than architecture. It is frozen geodesy, a perfect model of the northern hemisphere in solid stone. This celestial coding continues within the pyramid's hidden heart. The descending passage once pointed directly to the North Star of its era, Alpha Draconis, a fixed point in the northern sky. Meanwhile, the southern shafts emanating from the King's Chamber were precisely aimed at the belt of the constellation Orion, a region of the sky the ancient Egyptians associated with Osiris, the god of rebirth and the afterlife. This alignment forms the core of the Orion correlation theory, proposed by researchers like Robert Bovell, which suggests the entire Giza Plateau mirrors the pattern of the Milky Way, with the pyramids representing the stars of Orion's belt. For its builders, the pyramid was not a tomb, but a resurrection machine, a gateway to the stars designed to facilitate the pharaoh's journey to join the eternal, undying gods. Within the king's chamber, the mystery deepens. The massive granite beams that form the ceiling are not merely structural. Some researchers suggest these immense stones were chosen for their unique acoustic properties, potentially resonating at frequencies that align with the Earth's own natural heartbeat, the Schumann resonance. This could have transformed the chamber into an amplifier for ceremonial sounds, using vibrational energy to create an environment conducive to profound spiritual experience. The entire structure functions as a complex system, from its subterranean chamber, which may have represented the underworld, to its ascending passages symbolizing the soul's rise to the heavens. The precision-cut air shaft served both a practical purpose, maintaining a specific atmosphere, and a symbolic one, acting as conduits for celestial energy. The Great Pyramid remains the undeniable benchmark of ancient ingenuity, a single structure that seamlessly weaves together mathematics, astronomy, and a deep understanding of our planet. This same sophisticated intelligence appears again in a completely different form high in the Andes Mountains. High in the Andes, Machu Picchu clings to a mountain ridge, a city that seems to have grown from the rock itself. This is not a structure imposed upon the landscape, but one woven into its very fabric, a masterpiece of hidden codes that harmonize architecture with the raw power of nature. The entire site is a carefully engineered reflection of the surrounding peaks, known as pews or mountain spirits. The massive sacred rock, for instance, is not a random monolith. Its distinctive shape perfectly mirrors the silhouette of the towering Yanantin Mountain directly behind it, physically anchoring the man-made city to the sacred geography of the Andes. This was a deliberate act of symbolic coding, a way of saying that the spirit of the mountain lived within the city's walls. The integration extends to the celestial realm through the Intihuatana stone, a granite pillar carved with breathtaking precision. This was far more than a simple calendar. During the equinoxes, the sun sits directly overhead, and the intricately shaped stone casts no shadow at all. It becomes a perfect solar clock, marking a moment of absolute balance in the cosmos. For the Inca, this was a spiritual anchor, a device to literally hitch the sun in its journey across the sky and ensure its return. The architecture itself frames these celestial events with theatrical beauty. The Temple of the Three Windows is positioned so that the rising sun on specific sacred days floods through its trapezoidal openings, illuminating the interior with a dramatic, planned light. Every wall and terrace in Machu Picchu follows this principle of sacred alignment, turning the entire city into a temple dedicated to the mountains and the sky. This profound connection was built to last, using a construction technique that defies natural disasters. The stones are fitted together in what is known as ashlar masonry, cut with such incredible precision that no mortar was needed. The joints are so tight that you cannot slip a piece of paper between the blocks. This was not just about craftsmanship, it was a brilliant understanding of seismic activity. When an earthquake strikes, the walls of Machu Picchu do not crack and collapse. Instead, they dance, the stones shifting and settling before locking back into place once the tremor has passed. This dynamic stability is an engineering code written in stone, a direct response to the living, moving earth beneath them. Even the flow of water was part of this sacred system. A complex network of channels directs fresh spring water through the city, supplying the residents but also serving a ceremonial purpose. This water was likely used for ritual purification, its journey from the mountain peaks through the channels and past the temples mirroring the flow of life and spiritual energy. Machu Picchu stands as an ultimate statement of integration, where every stone, every sightline, and every stream was part of a single, cohesive vision. The city's hidden codes reveal a culture that saw no separation between the practical and the spiritual, between building a home and honoring the universe. This same drive to create lasting monuments in harmony with nature can be seen in one of the world's most isolated landscapes, where giant stone figures stand with their backs to the sea. Their backs turn to the endless Pacific. The moai of Easter Island guard a secret far greater than their stoic faces reveal. These are not merely heads but complete figures, their full bodies buried by time, carved from the compressed volcanic ash of the Ronoroku quarry. Their placement along the coastline is a geospatial code, a deliberate map of social and spiritual life. Many of these giants face inland, their sightless eyes watching over the villages, acting as eternal ancestral guardians for the communities that built them. Their positioning was a declaration, a permanent stone claim to clan territories and resources. The sheer scale of their transportation is a testament to a lost logistical science. The largest of these figures, named Paro, weighs an almost unimaginable 82 tons. It was moved nearly 6 miles from the quarry to its final platform, a journey accomplished without the wheel or draft animals. The most plausible theory suggests teams used a coordinated rocking motion, walking the statue upright with a complex system of ropes, a feat of applied physics that turned a multi-ton block into a shuffling, rhythmic giant. This was not brute force, but a carefully choreographed dance of leverage and balance, a code for moving mountains made manifest. Recent excavations have uncovered another layer of this hidden language, carved directly into the stone. On the backs of many moai previously hidden from view are intricate petroglyphs. These carvings depict symbols like the komari, a vulva form representing fertility, and the central figure of the later Birdman cult, a being that was central to an annual ritual to select a tribal leader. These symbols transformed the statues into more than guardians. They were living texts, their carved backs recording the community's most vital spiritual beliefs and rituals tied to the cycles of life and leadership. The platforms themselves, known as ahu, complete this integrated system. These were not simple bases. Many are precisely oriented so that on the solstices or the rising of key stars like the Pleiades, the sun would align with the platform's axis or illuminate the statues in a specific way. This celestial coding connected the ancestral guardians in the stone directly to the cycles of the heavens, weaving astronomy into the very foundation of daily life. The moai, therefore, are a profound synthesis. They are social codes marking territory and lineage. They are spiritual codes embodying ancestral presence and ritual practice. They are environmental codes reflecting a deep understanding of local materials and physics, and they are astronomical codes anchoring the community to the cosmos. They stand as silent, powerful witnesses to a complex culture that encoded its entire worldview into these magnificent stone sentinels. This sophisticated understanding of stone and space did not end on dry land, but extends into the ocean's depths, where another mystery lies submerged off the coast of Japan. Beneath the waves off Japan's coast, the Yonaguni Monument rises from the seafloor like a sunken city. This massive formation, discovered in the 1980s, presents a haunting puzzle. Its stark, geometric faces feature what appear to be vast terraces, perfect steps, and sharp right angles that plunge into the deep blue. A prominent triangular structure aligns with magnetic north, a detail that feels far too deliberate to be a simple quirk of nature. For geologist Masaki Kimura, who has studied the site for decades, these are not natural formations. He points to what he identifies as clear tool marks, carved channels, and even what looks like a wide ceremonial plaza, all suggesting the hand of a sophisticated builder. If his interpretation is correct, this structure was shaped when this land was dry, over 10,000 years ago, before the oceans rose at the end of the last ice age and swallowed it whole. Skeptics offer a powerful counterargument, explaining that the strong underwater currents in the region could have eroded the natural sandstone bedrock along its existing fracture lines, creating the illusion of architecture. They see a spectacular geological process, not a lost civilization. Yet the sheer scale and regularity of the features continue to challenge a purely natural explanation. The monument's potential human origin forces us to reconsider everything. It would mean that the map of megalithic culture is incomplete, with its most dramatic chapters hidden beneath the sea. This underwater enigma encodes a different kind of structural code, one not of astronomy but of planetary change. Its very location is a silent record of prehistoric climate shifts, a monument to a lost coastline and the people who may have lived there. If these submerged stones were indeed shaped by human hands, they preserve the knowledge of a culture that mastered building in harmony with a changing world, a world where shorelines were not permanent. The existence of Yonaguni expands the mystery from the land we know to the vast, unexplored realms under the ocean, suggesting that many of the greatest secrets of our past are still waiting in the deep. This profound connection between ancient stone and water is not an isolated phenomenon, but a recurring theme that flows through the very purpose of these sites. Water flows as a hidden current within the language of stone. Beyond celestial alignments and geometric precision, ancient builders wove a deep understanding of water itself into their monuments, creating sophisticated hydrological codes that served both the community and the spirit. This was not merely about managing a resource, it was about channeling a sacred force. High in the Andes, the Inca site of Tepon stands as a masterpiece of this hydraulic science. Its vast terraces are fed by a complex network of stone canals and aqueducts that still function today, precisely controlling the flow from natural springs. The water cascades from one level to the next in a measured, graceful dance, designed for irrigation but also for ceremony, its flow synchronized with the arrival of seasonal rains in a display of harmony with nature's cycles. This principle appears across the world. While not a classic megalithic site, the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro in the Indus Valley reveals a parallel genius with advanced plumbing, covered drains, and wells that speak to a widespread tradition of urban water management. On the Mediterranean islands of Malta, the megalithic temples often feature carved stone basins and deep, bell-shaped cisterns cut into the living rock below the floors. These were not simple storage pits. They collected precious rainwater to be used in purification rituals, linking the physical necessity of water directly to themes of spiritual rebirth and fertility. The presence of water in these sacred spaces adds a profound, fluid dimension to their meaning. Near Stonehenge, the river Avon and surrounding sacred springs were likely integral to the site's ceremonial function. The journey to the Great Stone Circle may have involved rituals of cleansing in these waters, a physical and symbolic preparation before entering the domain of the ancestors and the cosmos. In this holistic view, the flow of water mirrored the flow of life energy and the cycles of the heavens. The careful management of this element demonstrates that the builders saw their environment as an interconnected whole. They did not simply build on the land, they built with it, integrating the liquid soul of the landscape into their structural codes. This seamless fusion of practical engineering and spiritual symbolism reveals a world view where every natural force was a part of a grand, intelligible pattern. Yet the language of stone was never monolithic. Across the globe, the shared principles of megalithic construction were filtered through unique cultural lenses, creating a stunning tapestry of regional variations. In Europe, the grand scale of Karnak with its thousands of stones in parallel rows speaks to a society that valued communal procession and linear ceremonial pathways. These vast alignments may have guided spiritual journeys across the landscape itself. Meanwhile, on the Korean peninsula, the countless dolmens present a different focus. These structures, often consisting of a single massive capstone resting on smaller supporting stones, primarily served as markers for the final resting places of important individuals. Their simplicity and widespread distribution reveal a culture deeply invested in honoring its ancestors and marking territorial lineage with quiet, enduring monuments. This cultural adaptation is equally clear in the differing symbolic languages embedded in the stones. Anthropologist Marija Gimbutas noted the prevalence of feminine symbolism within the megalithic temples of Malta, where carvings of goddess figures and motifs of fertility and regeneration suggest a worldview centered on the cycles of life and nature. This stands in stark contrast to the imposing, angular pyramids of Egypt, which project a more masculine imagery of solar power, pharaonic authority, and ascension to a celestial realm. Both are profound spiritual statements, yet they emerge from entirely different understandings of the sacred. In the Americas, the great city of Cahokia featured its own version of a woodhenge, a circle of massive timber posts used to track the sun's movements. This structure highlights a blend of earth and sky worship, where the organic material of wood was used to chart the heavens, connecting the terrestrial world directly to cosmic cycles. Far to the south, the Inca of Machu Picchu refined this celestial connection into a precise science of sun worship, their architecture perfectly capturing solar events. And in Africa, the stone circle at Nabta Playa, one of the oldest known astronomical sites, reflects the needs of a pastoral society. Its alignments track the summer solstice and the arrival of Sirius, events that signaled the coming of seasonal rains essential for grazing herds. This was astronomy born from a direct, practical relationship with a specific environment. These regional flavors demonstrate that the hidden structural codes were not a rigid, universal blueprint. They were a flexible toolkit of knowledge. Ancient builders took the fundamental principles of geometry, astronomy, and sacred placement and adapted them to their own landscapes, resources, and core beliefs. The underlying science remained consistent, but its expression was beautifully local. This incredible diversity enriches our understanding, showing that megalithism was not a single, spreading cult, but a fundamental human impulse to build meaning into the landscape, an impulse that blossomed in wonderfully distinct ways. Such a wide range of interpretations, however, inevitably leads to fierce debate and competing theories about what these sites truly meant. These competing interpretations create a vibrant and often contentious field of study. Mainstream archaeology typically presents a gradualist perspective, where the development of megalithic construction is seen as a slow, local process of innovation. In this view, communities over many generations refined their techniques, sharing ideas through trade and cultural exchange. The immense effort is attributed to the powerful motivations of social organization and spiritual belief, proving that human ingenuity needs no external explanation. On the opposite end of the spectrum, theorists like Erich von Däniken have put forward more speculative ideas, suggesting that the knowledge required for such feats could have come from advanced extraterrestrial visitors. This perspective points to the technological gap between the assumed capabilities of ancient peoples and the staggering precision of the monuments themselves. Bridging these two extremes are middle ground theories, such as those explored by John Anthony West. He and others have proposed that a much older, sophisticated civilization, perhaps inspiring the legend of Atlantis, developed this science before a cataclysm scattered its survivors, who then seeded the knowledge across the globe. This idea of a lost mother culture attempts to explain the shared architectural language we see on different continents. The debate often intensifies around the very age of these sites. The accepted timelines, built on methods like radiocarbon dating, are sometimes directly challenged. A prime example is Gunung Padang in Indonesia, where some researchers claim the deepest layers of the site are over 20,000 years old, a date that would shatter conventional understanding of human civilization. If true, it would mean a complex society was building pyramids while much of humanity was still in the Paleolithic era. These controversies highlight a fundamental tension between strict empirical evidence and more speculative interpretation. Another clear illustration of this conflict is the ongoing debate surrounding the so-called Bosnian pyramids. Most geologists see the formations near Visoko as natural hills, their symmetrical shapes a product of geological forces. Yet a dedicated group of investigators argues they are the remnants of immense artificial structures, the largest pyramids in the world. For an observer, navigating these claims requires a careful and critical eye. It is essential to ask about the qualifications of the sources, the reproducibility of their evidence, and whether their conclusions fit the broader archaeological picture. Engaging with these controversies does not mean accepting one side over the other. It means understanding that the past is a story we are still piecing together, and that every new claim, whether proven or not, pushes us to look closer and think deeper. This rigorous process of questioning is what leads us forward, directly to the sophisticated tools we now use to read the stones. A new generation of high-tech tools is now reading the stones with senses we never possessed. Laser scanning from aircraft, known as lidar, peels back the dense forest canopy to reveal the Earth's true shape, exposing ancient processional avenues and forgotten settlements hidden for centuries around sites like Stonehenge. It reveals that these iconic circles were not solitary monuments, but the vibrant hearts of vast ceremonial landscapes, connected by roads and earthworks on a scale we never imagined. On the ground, ground-penetrating radar sends pulses of energy deep into the soil, creating a sonogram of the underworld. This allows archaeologists to map buried chambers, hidden post holes, and entire foundation walls without ever lifting a trowel, preserving the sacred ground while revealing its deepest secrets. From above, drones capture breathtaking aerial views, their cameras highlighting geometric patterns and alignments that are utterly invisible from the ground, showing us the grand design as the original architects might have seen it. Sophisticated software then takes this flood of data, using geographic information systems to analyze the spatial relationships between sites across hundreds of miles, testing theories about ley lines and celestial sightlines with mathematical rigor. This technological toolkit is transforming speculation into testable science. At the Great Pyramid, thermal imaging cameras detected mysterious temperature anomalies in the limestone blocks, subtle heat signatures that strongly suggest the presence of unknown voids or chambers behind the famous facade. Similar techniques are used to search for hidden passages in the labyrinthine temples of Malta, or to measure the subtle electromagnetic fields that some report at the rollright stones. This is not about replacing the wonder with cold data. It is about using the precision of modern science to confirm the sophistication of ancient minds, building a bridge of evidence between our world and theirs. The stones are beginning to speak a new language, one of gigabytes and point clouds, and what they are saying is rewriting our history books. This profound connection to the past is not just intellectual, it is deeply personal, touching something primal within every visitor who walks between these silent, waiting stones. These ancient sites hold a power that transcends their physical dimensions, reaching directly into the human spirit. Visitors from all walks of life consistently report profound shifts in awareness when standing within these stone circles and chambers. Some describe an overwhelming sense of peace, a quieting of the mind's constant chatter. Others speak of a deep, resonant connection, as if the stones themselves are humming with a forgotten memory. For a few, the experience is even more vivid, involving fleeting visions or a sudden, inexplicable clarity about their own lives. At locations like Malta's hypogeum, where specific acoustic frequencies resonate within the oracle room, or at sites known for unusual geomagnetic activity, these sensations can be particularly intense, potentially nudging the brain into a different state of consciousness. Modern psychology offers a framework for this through the study of awe. When we are confronted with something vast that transcends our current understanding, it can shatter our everyday mental models. This awe effect expands our perception of time, fosters a deep sense of connection, and can make us feel part of something much larger than ourselves. The sheer scale of the stones, their impossible age, and their silent, enduring presence create the perfect conditions for this powerful emotional and psychological response. This suggests the builders were not merely engineers and astronomers, they were architects of human experience. They encoded these sites not just with practical data, but with the specific intention of facilitating transcendental moments. Pilgrims to Glastonbury Tor in England often describe the steep climb as a metaphorical journey, with the panoramic view from the summit offering not just a visual reward, but a feeling of personal transformation and release. These are not random reactions, they are the echo of a design principle that understood the deep connection between our inner world and the outer environment. The true purpose of these places may have been to serve as spiritual technology, using scale, sound, and alignment to open a doorway in the human mind, linking the individual directly to the cosmos. This profound power of place, this ability to shape human consciousness, is the ultimate hidden code, and its legacy is now inspiring a new wave of creation in our modern world. The silent language of the ancient stones is far from a forgotten dialect. Its core principles are experiencing a powerful renaissance in the steel and glass of our modern cities. Architects and designers are now looking back to these primal forms, rediscovering the wisdom of sacred geometry, sustainable materials, and cosmic alignment to solve contemporary problems. In London, the iconic Gherkin skyscraper rises in a perfect spiral, a form that channels wind around its surface for remarkable energy efficiency. This is not so different from the spirals carved into the entrance stone at Newgrange, symbols of cyclical energy and rebirth, now reimagined for an urban skyline. The very choice of material echoes this ancient logic. Modern eco-villages increasingly turn to stone and rammed earth for their incredible thermal mass, a natural insulation that keeps buildings cool in summer and warm in winter, just as it did in megalithic chambers thousands of years ago. This is a practical application of a timeless code, building for durability and harmony with the local climate. The influence extends deep into our collective imagination. Stanley Kubrick's monumental film 2001, A Space Odyssey, features a mysterious black monolith that appears at key moments to trigger evolutionary leaps in consciousness. This powerful image draws directly from the awe we feel before a standing stone, transforming it into a universal symbol of transcendent knowledge and sudden, profound change. At modern music festivals, we see this impulse made physical. The temporary stone circles created for gatherings like Glastonbury provide a focal point for community, a sacred space for shared experience that consciously recreates the ceremonial atmosphere of ancient sites. Even in the meticulous reconstruction of the Parthenon, the golden ratio is employed once again, ensuring its proportions sing with the same harmonic beauty that the original builders encoded. This is more than nostalgia. It is a recognition that these ancient codes answer a deep, modern longing for spaces that nourish the human spirit, that connect us to the natural world rather than sealing us off from it. By studying how the ancients built in concert with the earth, we find a blueprint for a more sustainable and soulful future. This dialogue between past and present naturally extends to how these stone sentinels can guide our understanding of the planet's own changing story. These silent stones are more than monuments, they are planetary diaries. The same megalithic structures that track the stars also hold a detailed record of Earth's ancient climate, locked within their foundations and the very landscape that surrounds them. The sediment layers accumulated around a standing stone or the pollen grains preserved in the nearby peat bogs create a timeline of environmental change. By studying these natural archives, scientists can read the story of the land, uncovering periods of drought, the arrival of new crops, or the retreat of ancient forests. This environmental coding reveals a deeply pragmatic side to these sacred sites, showing they were integrated systems for survival as much as for spirituality. Consider the coastal sites now submerged beneath the waves, like the legendary city of Dwarka off the coast of India or the Bimini Road in the Bahamas. Their positions are not mistakes, they are markers. They silently record the dramatic sea level rise that followed the end of the last ice age, mapping shorelines that vanished thousands of years ago. Even the slow, almost imperceptible weathering patterns on a stone's surface can tell a tale of shifting rainfall and temperature across centuries. This data is invaluable, helping us reconstruct how ancient civilizations faced and adapted to immense environmental stresses. Their responses, encoded in the relocation of sites or changes in agricultural evidence found in the soil, offer us a library of strategies for resilience. The stones become teachers, showing us how cultures thrived by observing and respecting the limits of their world. This practical wisdom, written in pollen and stone, guides us toward a crucial modern conversation about how we study and preserve these fragile, irreplaceable links to our shared past. The stones guard more than ancient wisdom, they hold the cultural heart of living communities. As global fascination with these sites intensifies, a vital conversation emerges about how we approach them with respect and responsibility. The drive to decode their secrets must be balanced with a profound duty to preserve their physical and spiritual integrity. Excavation, while revealing hidden histories, can also be an invasive process. Unearthing fragile structures risks accelerating their decay, and disturbing the final resting places of individuals can cause deep pain to those who see the site as a sacred link to their ancestors. This has sometimes created a painful divide between academic pursuit and the beliefs of local and indigenous communities. A powerful example of this tension is the ongoing dialogue regarding cultural artifacts from Rapa Nui, Easter Island. The call for the return of the Hoa Hakananea moai from the British Museum is not just about an object, it is about the repatriation of a living ancestor, a vital piece of a community's soul. This highlights why ethical decoding is not a solitary endeavor. It demands true collaboration, where researchers work transparently with descendant groups, valuing their oral histories and traditional knowledge as essential pieces of the puzzle. It means moving beyond treating these places as mere curiosities for study and recognizing them as active, sacred landscapes. International guidelines, such as those from UNESCO, now strongly emphasize sustainable tourism and robust protection against vandalism and looting. This is not about locking the past away, but about ensuring its survival. As we stand in awe before these monuments, we are called to become stewards. Supporting ethical research and mindful travel is a way to honor the legacy of the builders, ensuring their silent language continues to speak for millennia to come. This shared responsibility opens the door for a new kind of explorer, the engaged amateur whose curiosity can now contribute directly to the grand project of understanding. Your smartphone could be the next tool to unlock an ancient secret. The study of these stone giants is no longer confined to academic journals and professional excavations. A vibrant global movement of citizen scientists and amateur researchers is now actively contributing to the field, making remarkable discoveries with technology as simple as the device in your pocket. Enthusiasts use apps to measure magnetic fields, photograph solstice alignments, and map subtle geometric patterns across landscapes, all data that can be shared instantly with a worldwide community. Platforms like Google Earth have transformed every interested person into a potential explorer, allowing anyone to scan remote hillsides and coastlines for the telltale shapes of forgotten monuments. This collective effort has yielded tangible results, such as the discovery of previously unknown stone circles in the Scottish Highlands by observant hikers, or the detailed analysis of a site's unique acoustic properties conducted by a curious sound engineer. This is the true democratization of discovery. It empowers ordinary people with a passion for the past to play a direct role in decoding the hidden structural codes. Yet this open, collaborative approach also requires a shared commitment to critical thinking. In an online space filled with both groundbreaking insights and compelling misinformation, the ability to question sources and demand evidence becomes as important as the discovery itself. When this passion is paired with intellectual rigor, the amateur community becomes an invaluable partner to professional archaeology. They offer fresh perspectives, countless hours of observational work, and a deep, personal investment that can uncover details a formal survey might miss. This collaborative spirit makes the quest to understand our ancient past more accessible and dynamic than ever before. It reinforces the idea that these stones are a part of our shared human heritage, and that everyone has a role to play in unraveling their silent stories. Where will this collective curiosity lead us next as we peer into the future of these enduring enigmas? The next chapter of this ancient story will be written not with shovels, but with algorithms and quantum sensors. The future of understanding these sites lies in a radical fusion of disciplines, where archaeologists collaborate with physicists, geneticists, and data scientists to build models of the past more complete than ever before. Imagine artificial intelligence sifting through vast global datasets of stone alignments, identifying subtle geometric patterns shared between Japan and Peru that a single researcher could never spot. Quantum sensing devices capable of detecting the faintest magnetic or gravitational fluctuations may finally map the elusive energy fields some believe are woven into the land at places like Avebury. This is not science fiction, it is the next frontier of exploration. Our search is also pushing into the planet's final frontiers, the deep ocean. Expeditions are already planned for sites like the Gulf of Cambay off India, where sonar has revealed sprawling, submerged structures, and the mysterious Baltic Sea anomaly, whose strange geometry continues to baffle experts. These underwater investigations could dramatically redraw the map of prehistoric human settlement, revealing chapters of our history currently hidden beneath the waves. Even climate change, a profound challenge for our world, is unexpectedly opening new windows to the past. As glaciers recede and deserts expand, they are revealing landscapes untouched for millennia, potentially exposing stone circles and earthworks that have been sealed in ice or sand for thousands of years. Each new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle. This forward momentum underscores a thrilling truth: the mystery of the megaliths is an open book. We are not simply uncovering a static past, we are actively participating in an ongoing conversation with it. The quest to decode these sites is a journey without a final destination, where each generation's tools and perspectives reveal new layers of meaning. This relentless pursuit of ancient wisdom inevitably circles back to us, prompting a deeply personal question about what this knowledge means for our own place in the world. These silent stone codes from the past hold up a mirror to our modern world. They challenge our assumptions about progress and ask us what truly constitutes a lasting legacy. The ancient builders invested generations of labor and profound thought into projects that served a purpose far beyond their own lifetimes, embedding a deep respect for the natural world into every stone. Their work stands as a timeless testament to the power of collective human effort, a reminder that our greatest achievements are born from collaboration. In our era of rapid technological advancement and immediate gratification, their example invites a crucial reflection. We construct cities of steel and glass, design complex digital networks, and shape societies driven by consumption. Yet we must ask ourselves, what are the hidden codes we are writing into our own world? Are we building for fleeting trends, or are we creating with the same long-term vision, weaving principles of sustainability, harmony, and beauty into the fabric of our civilization? The megaliths teach us that true innovation is not just about what we can build, but why we build it and for whom. They demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of living in balance with the Earth's cycles, a wisdom we are urgently relearning today. Our modern challenges, from climate shifts to social division, call for this same spirit of ingenuity fused with a profound reverence for our planet and for one another. The stones do not offer a blueprint to copy, but an inspiration to draw upon. They show us that it is possible to create monuments not just to power, but to knowledge, to community, and to the cosmos itself. As our exploration draws to a close, the key insights become beautifully clear. We have journeyed through a world where stone is a language, speaking through geometry, astronomy, and a deep connection to the Earth. We have seen how cultures across the globe shared a common scientific and spiritual understanding, encoding universal principles into their architecture. From the celestial alignments of Stonehenge to the seismic resilience of Machu Picchu, these sites reveal a forgotten chapter of human ingenuity. They were not primitive attempts, but masterful achievements that integrated science, art, and spirit into a single, harmonious whole. The true message of the megaliths is one of possibility. It tells us that humanity has always been capable of extraordinary vision, and that the greatest structures are those built in partnership with the world around us. This is the enduring code, a whisper from the past urging us to build a future worthy of the stones. These silent stones speak a language of profound intelligence, one we have only just begun to translate. We have walked through a landscape where geometry is not just a shape, but a philosophy, where circles and spirals mirror the patterns of a nautilus shell and the whirl of distant galaxies. We have measured the mathematical constants of pi and the golden ratio locked within the dimensions of pyramids and chambers, revealing a numerical science that understood the very fabric of reality. Our journey tracked the celestial dance, from solstice sunbeams piercing ancient doorways to lunar cycles counted in stone circles, proving our ancestors were master astronomers. We felt the whisper of telluric energies flowing through the earth and the resonant hum of chambers tuned to specific frequencies, suggesting a spiritual technology that harnessed the unseen world. And we saw this same sophisticated language appear from the high Andes to the coast of Japan, a global chorus of shared knowledge that challenges our timeline of history. Each site, from the solar clock of Machu Picchu to the geodetic model of the Great Pyramid, is a unique verse in this epic poem written in stone. They were not primitive people struggling for survival. They were visionaries, engineers, and philosophers who encoded their unified understanding of cosmos, earth, and spirit into the most permanent library they could build. This collective legacy is not a closed book, it is an open invitation. The stones have guarded their secrets for millennia, but the next chapter of discovery is waiting for you. Look closer at the world around you, question the stories you have been told, and become part of the ongoing quest to listen to what these ancient sentinels have yet to say. This exploration of hidden codes reveals a profound legacy of human ingenuity. The silent stones we have encountered are not cold relics of a forgotten age. They are vibrant repositories of knowledge, each one a chapter in a story that rewrites our understanding of history and our own potential. They challenge the linear narrative of progress, showing us that ancient minds possessed a sophisticated science that wove together mathematics, astronomy, and a deep reverence for the living earth. This was not a primitive struggle for survival, but a conscious effort to build in harmony with the cosmos, to create monuments that served as bridges between the earthly and the divine. The true message etched into these stones is one of connection, a reminder that we are part of a vast, intelligible universe. This journey does not end here. Let it inspire you to look closer at the world around you. Visit a local stone circle and feel the quiet power of the place. Notice the geometric patterns in a snowflake or the spiral of a sunflower, seeing the same universal language that the ancients encoded in granite. The quest to decode these secrets is a shared human endeavor, and your curiosity is a vital part of it. I would love to hear what mysteries resonated most with you. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the wonders of our past, please subscribe for more videos exploring history's greatest enigmas. Together, we can keep the spirit of discovery alive, listening for the whispers of wisdom that still echo from the stone.